Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw Countout. It's the top 10 show that we do here, but in podcast form. So it doesn't have all the cool graphics and like pictures of things happening. No, it's a conversation where we list 10 things that some should have happened, blah, 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 in wrestling.
The frame you see now is the frame you'll see for the duration of this podcast.
Yeah, our heads are going to be bobbing a little bit.
At no point will we cut to interesting graphics.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
On the contrary, this might be a very coffee, not sipping coffee, but coffee.
Yeah, Steve's under the weather there.
Because I'm under the weather. I had two lines show up, Larson, not just one line. Oh no.
Oh no, indeed.
Last time I had this, I gave it to you.
Which is why we're doing this and pretty much every episode from here on out remotely.
Exactly. Anyways, so I don't know if y'all heard, maybe some of y'all are living under a rock or something. Triple H is in charge at WWE, and this dude is just bringing people back.
Yeah.
He sent a bunch of boomerangs out into the wild, and they're all just zipping back to Triple H, showing up on Raw, SmackDown, et cetera, et cetera.
So we've had Dakota Kai re-sign after being released. We've had Karrion Kross re-sign after being released, and this is going up after SmackDown. And there's reports today, Thursday, we're doing this Thursday evening, that Top Dollar and Ashanti Adonis might be on or at SmackDown Friday. They could be, considering this is going up Saturday, they could have come back as well, or they could come back at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So he is on. Look, man, this dude saw value in his people, and he's trying to bring him back. And then also, of course, we all know, we've read the reports that the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, has been in contact with Johnny Gargano to bring him back as well. Mm-hmm. So we decided to scour the landscape of the WWE and reach out and see what other wrestlers might Triple H, Paul Levesque, the King of King, the Game of Games, Cerebral Assassin,
Hunter Hearst
Terrorizing.
Save your voice, Steve. You got a whole podcast.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
And not only wrestlers that were at one point signed to WB. Of course, it sounds like, especially based after this last tryout, they're going to start inviting indie wrestlers back to these WB tryouts. So this list is a bit of an amalgam of former NXT WB superstars plus some standouts from the independent wrestling world that we feel like Triple H should either bring back or bring to WWE.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just hop into it. Number 10. Jonah / Bronson Reed, now known as Jonah. In WWE, he was known as Bronson Reed.
Correct. So he's under a non-exclusive deal with New Japan currently.
Oh, yeah, and we should note this caveat. We sort of found people who it would be like, it'd be likely that it's like, not like he can't go and get Adam Cole, according to Tony Khan. Adam Cole signed to like 2034 or something.
Yeah. Adam Cole's got like a dozen years left on his deal. He's not going back to NXT or WWE anytime soon.
Yeah, so they're not going to be, poaching ironclad contracts. This isn't the 90s, people.
No.
There's no more SIDS where they can just go from one WrestleMania main event to the Starrcade main event. Not happening anymore.
Doesn't happen these days. Now, I'm guessing Jonah's deal now, even though it's non-exclusive, since he signed with New Japan, I'm guessing that would preclude him from working with WWE.
Right.
But I don't know the length of this deal.
Yeah.
He's been having himself a pretty solid G1. He beat Okada.
Yeah,
that's a huge deal.
Yeah. For all we know, look, here's about the contract thing. For all we know, some of the Jonah's arrangement with New Japan might be like a low tier AEW deal, which is like a pay per appearance thing. You get any number of appearances, and they can match if somebody else sends you a better offer. They can match it if they want to keep you around.
Yeah, it
could
be.
We don't know. That might be might be on that deal. We don't know.
That could be. His release from WB was surprising. It was weird. He has all the tools. Really good wrestler.
Yeah,
great personality. He's a good talker. And, he had several dark matches. It seemed like he was on the verge of getting called up. Instead, he got released. Mm-hmm. He was starting to become one of the cornerstones of late NXT.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was in the North American title mix quite a bit. I'm actually pretty surprised they never put that belt on him.
Yeah, right.
Nonetheless, he was building momentum in NXT, and then we got reports he's getting called up. It's like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
If they're not going to put a title on him in NXT, he's ready for the main roster. Bring him up to main.
Yeah.
And instead, he got released, and it was weird. And I think, if you read interviews with him, he's still a bit confused about why that happened.
Yeah.
But since then, he's done some really awesome stuff in Impact. He's been doing great work in New Japan. Again, going out there, building up his brand so that if Triple H comes a-calling, Jonah could pick up the phone and Paul could say, hey, we want to bring you back in. We'll straight to main, and I got a good story for you. Here it is. And then they're off to the races.
I don't know how many of these wrestlers the WWE releases, like before they got released, like because you heard about all these people coming in having these sort of tryout matches on Main Event or whatever.
Yeah,
I wonder how many of them just rub Vince the wrong way, in like the stupidest, weirdest possible ways. It's like Jonah walked by him and Vince noted that I don't know. Jonah was like, "Oh man, I've been up for a while. I want to take a nap after this." Oh no, you're not supposed to sleep. Vince doesn't like people who sleep, or somebody was sweating a bit too much. Oh, you're sweating too much. My son does that. I hate him. Like I wonder how many of these releases were just fucking weird. Vince go, oh my God, he just, walked past me while I was eating my steak and I didn't like it,
Yeah.
I don't
know. Who knows?
That could have been Jonah. But yeah, this is a really weird one. He seemed to have all the tools. He has all the tools. And yeah, you could tell why Triple H likes him. Triple H likes those big meaty dudes. He sees value in them because you usually get a lot of really good when you pair them up with like little dudes like we're about to talk about in a second here. They put on phenomenal matches. They're really fun watching those sort of David Goliath type matches. So yeah, no, Jonah, Bronson Reed. Number one, I'll say this: Bronson Reed is a rare occurrence where the WWE name is a lot better than the outside WWE name. Oh, Jonah just sounds like a dude.
I like Jonah Rock, who was named before he came.
Sounds like a Flintstones character.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought it was a cool name.
Yeah, it sounds a little too Flintstone-y for me. I like Bronson Reed.
All right.
It sounds like a what's his face, Charles Bronson character. Well, that's because of Bronson.
Because of Bronson, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it sounds like a badass character.
But then if he was still in NXT, then Braun Breaker. I don't know if it would be Braun Breaker because it'd be two Braun names.
It's all good. It's a new era, man. It's a new era. Anyways, let's move on. Number 9. Leon Ruff. Now, this dude was North American champion in NXT. Had a really awesome story with him and Gargano and Priest. How he was sort of the guy who wasn't supposed to have it. And I forget if he won it based on an open challenge or what the situation was. Sort of an open challenge gone wrong, I think it was.
It was a kind of a spin the wheel, make the deal type thing.
Well, was that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
And this dude, he was, to me, there were aspects of his game that reminded me of a couple wrestlers, but sort of most notably Leo Rush, similarly named Leo Rush. How he was doing things with such a speed and velocity that I was like, oh my God, but Leon Ruff had his own distinct style.
Yeah.
It was a very unique thing that he was doing. And unfortunately, he's ended up, just doing job matches on Dark and Elevation. Tony Khan doesn't seem to have, much for him there, much use for him. Triple H seemed to like him. And again, he's one of those guys where if you put him in a match against a Bronson Reed, you're going to come out with a lot of gold right there. Or a smaller guy will come out with gold.
Yeah. He's an immensely talented wrestler. It's strange that he was released given the story they were doing with him. Because there was some good stuff they were doing, and he was doing excellent work. But I guess once 2.0 came along, actually this was right before 2.0. He got released on August 6th of last
Remember
year.
that great little feud he had with Swerve? I think it was with Swerve. How at first you had that sort of Leon Ruff who was just excited to be there and he was excited to win the North American title. But then he got like a little bit of an edge to him and he was being kind of a dick and he was standing up for himself. Like, I really liked that. I thought they were adding a lot to his character. And then, right before the relaunch, it's like, this dude's young. Like, he's exciting. Yeah, he's not 6'4" and jacked, which is, I think, what they, like, Vince all of a sudden was like, we just want a bunch of Von Wagners and Braun Breakers.
Virtually, yeah. I think that was the idea, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully, Triple H will bring him on back to the WWE.
Yeah, I hope so. Because he's great, and he should be doing a lot more than as you mentioned, teaming with Bear Country in enhancement matches.
Yeah. Yeah. There was God, what was it? Wasn't there a handicap match, him and Bear Country versus two guys, a tag team or something like that?
So here on Wikipedia, it says that on Rampage, him and Bear Country took on Gun Club and Max Caster. And then July 6th on Dynamite, again teamed with Bear Country and Fuego del Sol against Gun Club, Caster, and Bowens.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know. Something like that. And it was the match was basically an afterthought type match.
Oh, it's so short, yeah.
It was one of those that they did a promo picture-in-picture thing that was longer than the actual match. Mm-hmm. They did that. I don't know if that was the match, but they did something wonky like that. I'm like, come on, man, did you not watch? It's Tony Khan. He's basically trying to recreate Tony D'Angelo's crew. It's obviously. He's fine looking at the competition and seeing what they have to offer.
Yeah, no.
Why don't you watch the Leon Ruffin matches, man? They were spectacular. Maybe he did. He was whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, who knows?
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Hey, Larson.
Yes, Steve?
You're a shoe guy. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this question.
All right.
How well would you take care of your shoes if you had to keep the same pair for the rest of your entire life?
Rest of my life? One pair of shoes.
Oh, yeah.
One pair of shoes, rest of my life.
One pair.
Wow, I guess I would take really good care of them. I'd clean them a lot and store them, so they don't get stepped on when I'm not wearing them. I would take really good care of them. Really good care of them.
Of course you would take care of them. It's a silly question for me to ask, and I asked it. But here's the thing. We only get one brain, and a lot of us don't treat that with the same level of care. See, how we care for our brains and minds really affects how we can experience life. So it's important to take the time and care necessary to keep those things healthy. And there are plenty of ways you can support your brain health. You could learn a new language, or do what I do, and take a lot of power naps. Or you could try BetterHelp online therapy.
Yeah, there was a period in my life where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and I had to look for some help. So I've been through the process of trying to find a therapist and know how difficult it can be to find the right person to talk to. But BetterHelp online therapy makes that process much more convenient by offering video, phone, and even live chat therapy sessions.
BetterHelp can get you matched up with a therapist in less than 48 hours, and it's much more affordable than in-person therapy. And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
And let's get a word from our sponsor, Athletic Greens. Steve, as I'm sure you're aware, I have in the past been known to be a bit of a low-energy guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, these days I'm right there with you. But I know that I've heard you talk about looking for ways to turn you from low-energy Larson to let's go Larson.
That's true. I was on the lookout for ways to get my energy up until I discovered Athletic Greens and started taking AG1 because it offers up 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens that not only give me more energy, it also supports my gut health, my nervous system, my immune system, recovery, focus, sleep, mental clarity, and aging.
Yeah, man. Lots of people take some sort of multivitamin, and it's crucial to take one with high-quality ingredients that your body can actually absorb. Athletic Greens is the one thing with the best things. It uses the best of the best products based on the latest science, has less than 1 gram of sugar, and has no nasty chemicals or artificial anything.
I'm a creature of habit, and I usually have a tough time working new things into my usual routine, but I've had no problem working in AG1. I just make a serving before breakfast every morning, and I notice the benefits to my energy levels and digestion pretty quickly. And AG1 can fit into your lifestyle, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, and it costs less than $3 a day.
Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health.
To make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/raw. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/raw to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Liquid IV. Now, we talk about it all the time here on the show. Larson and I like to play basketball every week. We've come to realize that it's really easy to get dehydrated during these hot summer months.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I was out. I put up 250 jump shots today. And guess what?
Wow.
I sweat a ton.
Oh,
Just
wow.
a lot. And, the last thing I want to have happen out there when I'm trying to work on my jump shot is get dehydrated, because it completely ruins my day both on and off the court.
Yeah, man, it's ruined my day before when I come home with one of those dehydration headaches. If I haven't used my Liquid IV, I get a headache, and I'm useless for the rest of the day. I just lay in my bed and I just stare at the ceiling the whole time.
Yeah. Like, I've been using Liquid IV as part of my weekly basketball routine. I usually drink some while we're playing and then more after we're finished. And I notice a pretty massive difference. I feel like I'm maintaining my energy levels throughout our game, and I don't feel as tired or as sore afterwards. Both my wife and I have been using Liquid IV when we're exercising or we know we're just going to be out in the sun. We even brought some with us on a recent vacation. Liquid IV has become such a huge part of our routine that we just had to order a bunch more to get through the rest of this month.
Liquid IV is super easy to use, too. You just put 1 stick of Liquid IV in 16 ounces of water and you're good to go. Liquid IV hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. You have your choice of up to 10 refreshing flavors like Concord Grape, Lemon Lime, Piña Colada, and my favorite, Tropical Punch.
So grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code RAW at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code RAW at liquidiv.com.
Let's move on. Number 8.
8.
Gringo Loco, my second favorite wrestler in GCW.
Oh, behind Shane Mercer, right?
Shane Mercer's my first, but Gringo Loco has got that, like, energy about him. I say Shane Mercer another, like, year or two or something, because he's on my list also. That Shane Mercer does some crazy fucking moves, man.
He does do some wild stuff.
You know who else does some wild stuff? Gringo Loco.
Yeah, he does.
This dude, these matches are absolutely nuts to watch. It's like the one thing that, like, sort of sticks with me at GCW is when they do, like, some lucha stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Gringo Loco's out there just doing absolutely crazy shit. And I'd love to see him in NXT. I think that'd be phenomenal. Imagine matches with him and Axiom.
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, as awful as that Axiom gimmick is, A-Kid's a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I wonder if Triple H is going to try to focus on bringing back any luchadors. Because he was always big on the lucha thing. He tried to make a big deal out of Sin Cara, and then that just fell apart.
Well, and you know, like
times.
Grand Metalik, he's great.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Lindsay Dorado, great.
And then Vince just treated him like absolute dog shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. He had the Lucha Dragons in NXT.
Yeah.
Triple H
Yeah,
is
they were
always
super
trying
over.
them Lucha guys. They were over.
They were super over.
Lucha. Sin
Yeah,
Cara
who
would
knows?
get gassed.
Who knows? I mean, Gringo Loco wrestles obviously for GCW, but Deadlock wrestled for Deadlock Pro Wrestling as well.
Oh, he's all over the place.
Triple A.
Yeah.
Yeah, wrestles all over the place. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be pretty cool if he were to show up in NXT.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how old the guy is or how long he's been around.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is either.
But then Triple H, again, Triple H likes them older dudes.
According to Lucha Wiki, Gringo Loco, is this the same Gringo Loco?
Born in 1985.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying too?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So
That's cool. He's older.
85, yes. 27? No, 37.
Yeah, it's not that far away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still, man. He's 37 doing that shit? God damn, that's nuts.
It's pretty crazy.
That's crazy. That's Gringo crazy. Let's move on. Number 7.
7.
There you go. Timothy Thatcher. Talk about him while my throat recuperates.
Sure. So he's been wrestling in Pro Wrestling Noah since his release. And his release was always kind of a boggling one, too, because here's a dude that, I mean, I guess in the sense that he's, a bit older. He's in his 30s.
Right.
God forbid you have anybody in NXT in their 30s.
Or from Sacramento.
Yeah. But if nothing else, like he's like ideal player coach.
Yeah, right.
Especially if you're bringing in people, to develop them. Like, dude is a technical wrestling wizard, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like, that was his gimmick in NXT for a stretch, was, hey, I'm going to teach students, like, you could really do that because he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is, like, well, Vince probably watches, like, good technical wrestling. Is, God. I mean, part of him I know is like, oh, the sweet science. But at the same time, he probably thinks, oh, the sweet science. Ah, God damn it, pal. I can't sell this shit. You know?
That's exactly what he thinks.
So he could probably appreciate it. But at the same time, he's like, I can't make money off this. So therefore, Timothy Thatcher, you're released. Now, Thatcher was doing some really fun character stuff in NXT.
Yeah,
he's a phenomenal wrestler.
Oh, man, he's great.
Watch his match against Killer Cross from FSW a few years back. It's a fantastic bout.
It's a good Killer Cross match, yeah.
It is a good Killer Cross match. Check it out.
Yeah. I like the fight pit stuff, too, in NXT.
Yeah, that was really
fun.
good.
That was interesting stuff.
I mean, he's one of those guys that has the pro wrestling bona fides as well as the catch wrestling, the mixed martial arts stuff. I mean, he's well versed in all that stuff.
Yeah.
He spent some time over in Walter's promotion, Germany, WXW.
Yeah.
You know, if they want to kind of add to Gunther's stable now, bring him in for that.
You know, I see a lot of parallels between him, like obvious parallels between him and Shayna Baszler. And it's clear that Shayna's going to be, she's going to be featured prominently going forward. Like that's clear as day. Triple H obviously always really liked her work. And you could see a lot of that in Thatcher. I think they're, you know, birds of a feather. Put them in a faction together of some sort, you know, of a bunch of just badass catch wrestlers.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
There's a lot of stuff you can do. Or like you said, put him with Gunther. He's been there with him before. Yeah, I'd be kind of shocked. And it makes me wonder because I wasn't able to ascertain whether or not Thatcher's actually signed with Noah.
Yeah.
Or if he's doing the thing like I mentioned off screen to you where like Pac, you know, when he was released from WWE, or I'm sorry, when he left WWE, and he could wrestle again, he went to Dragon Gate, but like wasn't like committed. I mean, he was their champion, but like didn't lock himself down because once AEW happened, he was able to go and do AEW. And I wonder if maybe that's what Thatcher's doing there. Maybe he is signed. I don't know, but I wasn't able to get any confirmation on internet searching. So I'm assuming maybe he's not. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of great opportunities that they could use him in you know, either NXT if they're going to rebrand it. But I want to put him on main roster. You know,
yeah,
like,
I know.
Don't put him in NXT.
I know. Yeah, he'd be great on main roster, whether he's with Shayna, with Gunther and Ludwig, or just by himself. I think he proved it in NXT. Like any concerns anybody may have about his character work, he put those to rest pretty quickly. Man,
I thought he was terrific. Yeah.
He's a really captivating promo.
He is. He's got that face. He's got the good voice. Yeah. Let's move on. Number 6. Tegan Nox. This would be actually kind of shocking if she didn't return to WWE.
Yeah.
Given how Triple H just seemed to absolutely love her work. And every time she was injured, it was like he got injured. And he'd bring her back and put her immediately in a prominent spot. And then she was put in Shotzi and Athena at the time, Ember Moon, were putting some good work as a tag team in NXT. So what they do, they called up the tag team, but they replaced Athena with Tegan Nox.
Yeah.
And then they lost the Tegan and just made it Shotzi and Nox. And it was like, okay, like I'm sure they like each other just fine, but like they didn't just spend months building chemistry.
I know. And then her main roster career lasted all of 4 months.
Yeah.
Got called up in July, was released in November.
Barely did anything. And I think in one of her interviews, she was like, yeah, it didn't really shock me all that much because like they just had nothing for me. And it's like, it's funny like how hardcore they drop the ball in like Shotzi. You know, it's like, how do you not understand exactly what she is and who she is immediately when you see her?
I know.
And how do you not know how to sell that?
I know. I mean, it was one of the first things that Vince did was take the tank away.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, that's such a great bit of spectacle.
You could totally, like, why aren't you selling toys of that?
I know.
Like, that's nuts. You have an actual comic book character / action figure. Anyways, getting back to Tegan Nox. Big ball drop there, too. She's supremely talented.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that they can make a lot of money with her, and I think Triple H always felt that way too.
You know, near as I can tell, I'm here on Cage Match. According to the Cage Match, she hasn't even had a match since she was released.
Chillin'.
And that was her last match in WWE was October 17th of last year, so about 10 months ago.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, no idea what she's up to. I don't know if she's wrestling on a much smaller scale or just taking some time off. Who knows?
Let's see if her Instagram gives us any hints here, because we're real journalists, Larson.
There we go.
Nixon Newell is her name.
Yep.
Nixon Newell. Newell.
So yeah, I would be pretty surprised if Triple H didn't find a way to bring her back.
Yeah, no, I agree. Looks like she was hanging out at whatever this is, Sad Summer Festival 2022, back on July 16th.
All right.
In Orlando. She's still in Orlando, evidently.
Oh, all right.
So she's doing that thing. She has a dog. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it just looks like she's chilling.
Yeah.
A couple bikini pictures, having a good time at the beach. Yeah. So, let's get back to work, Tegan Knox, for the WWE. Make all that money with Triple H in charge. Let's move on, Larson.
Yes.
Number 5.
5.
Shane Taylor.
So it's interesting that after Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor, Khan signed part of what's Tully Blanchard Enterprises,
the Embassy Suites.
The Embassy. Part of that faction. That Shane Taylor, who was a leader of Shane Taylor Promotions and Ring of Honor, and they were really gaining steam the last year or so in Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. They won the 6-man tag titles. Right. He's a former TV champ himself. Mm-hmm. After Ring of Honor had to cease activities before Tony Khan bought them, we haven't really heard a whole lot from Shane Taylor. I mentioned Khan getting signed. He actually did an interview with it says Jofo in the Ring. And Khan was asked about Shane Taylor maybe joining him in AEW / Ring of Honor. And Khan says, I definitely think there's a place. There's factions here, and there's particular factions that are missing that kind of gusto, if I can say. But we'll see. You can never say never in this business. You never know what the fuck's going to happen. And elsewhere, he talks about Shane Taylor Promotions kind of going their own way after Ring of Honor kind of ceased activities. He said, those are my boys. They congratulated me. We're all brothers, and everything was great. I know he talked about it. I think maybe Shane talked about it before, too. The goal was to ultimately go somewhere together. But we realized that bringing 4 or 5 people into a company, which logistically might not happen. But if someone goes here, someone goes there, that's still Shane Taylor Productions. That's still family.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of cool if Shane Taylor Promotions continued to some degree. It's like the one faction that unifies all of pro wrestling.
Oh, that's a neat idea. That's really cool, yeah. He's a really fun wrestler for a dude his size to do what he does. He was a standout on that last pre-Tony Khan, what was it, Final Battle or whatever that show was. He was a standout there. I think he did like a ladder match or something.
So he has been wrestling. According to Cage Match, his last match was August 5th, so about a week ago. He's wrestled Tim Storm.
Oh, he's
several
Tim
times.
Storm's man. Bring him into WWE.
Fuego. Wrestled Fuego. See some other names here that we might recognize.
Did he beat Fuego, or is it because Fuego's an AEW guy he can't lose?
Shane Taylor beat Fuego.
I don't know, man. They got these crazy rules.
Yeah. So he's been wrestling some. I mean, since Ring of Honor, Shane Taylor Promotions had a match in GCW. I kind of remember that earlier this year. It was O'Shea Edwards and Shane Taylor taking on. Oh, that's right. It was against Top Dollar and Ashante Adonis.
Oh, okay.
AJ Francis and Tahuti Miles. That's right.
Cool. Right on. I like that. That's good. So yeah, that'd be cool. Let's get this man back on TV.
Exactly.
Give him his own productions again.
Promotion.
And, yeah, is it productions or promotions?
Promotions. Shane Taylor Promotions.
I thought you said productions earlier. I was just going along with it. So yeah, that'd be fun. He's a fun wrestler.
He is.
And a unique character, and I like that he's got a big old promotion. Let's move on to number 4, man who needs no promotion. Number 4. Jonathan Gresham.
So I guess this one has an asterisk by it because we don't know if he's actually been his released request has been accepted by Tony Khan. So we don't know.
This dude, hey, it's just Vince in another skin, man. This is Vince in another skin. It's just, at least Tony Khan ain't gonna forget that matches already happened, so you're not gonna get rematches. But you know, you got to blow up with somebody, curse at him. You think you're getting released? No, man, no. But maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, and they'll let go of Jonathan Gresham because it doesn't seem like he's going to wrestle there anymore.
No.
Although he wrestled at Ric Flair's last match. So
he did, yeah.
Yeah,
he has, or he did. Yeah, that Ring of Honor title match against Claudio, that was weird. Opened the show, and it was not that long. And
understanding that he just cursed out his boss, it wasn't that weird. It's weird that it actually went. What did it go? 13 minutes? It's weird it went that long.
Yeah.
After cursing out a guy, he could have just been like, "Hey, Rev, tell him there's gonna be a squash out there."
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of was. It was just a really long squash.
Yeah. Given that Jonathan Gresham was like the person who kept the Ring of Honor name alive for several months while that company was doing nothing, going all over the world, defending that title. In a dream match against Claudio, I would have thought, give them 20 minutes, real hard-fought battle. I expected Claudio to win, but at the same time, you could have Gresham lose, but Claudio just barely eked out a victory. And then there was that weird rush heel turn like 2 weeks before the match, where he just joined Tully Enterprises. It was, I don't know, it was a strange turn of events. Ever since once he started showing up on AEW TV on a regular basis, and you hear him talk about it, and he's like, "Yeah, I just showed up, and they said it. They said I was going to turn heel," and he was like, "All right."
Yeah, man, Vince in another skin. It is. I'll say this. It's. I think the word that we both probably would more consider is just disappointing. It's not necessarily weird because it's clear what happened. It's not unusual because his vision, what he was doing, didn't match up with the vision of the guy who was writing the checks. And that's disappointing because you'd like to think that the guy writing the checks would honor what the dude was doing and would try to collaborate with him on what's going on. Unfortunately, when the people are writing the checks, that doesn't always happen. And it is incredibly disappointing for that to have been the case. He is a phenomenal wrestler.
Yes, he is.
I would love to see, it's kind of clear from the first couple weeks of WWE programming under Triple H, he's probably not the biggest fan of the 24/7 title. What if you take that title or an idea of that title? Number one, the title is dog shit ugly and it's got a terrible legacy.
Yeah.
But what if you take the spot that title may be occupied and you create a new title? Something along the lines of the pure title in Ring of Honor. Something for the technical grapplers where, they're going to come in and it's not cruiserweights. It's not like X Division, but it's kind of along those lines.
Yeah.
Where you're going to get some innovative wrestling. And that's where you bring in Gresham because that dude can go out there and he can put on those matches. They're just phenomenal matches. And I think that'd be a great way to use him. If he is going to bring in Gargano, it shows that Triple H is okay with wrestlers who aren't 6'4". I mean, obviously Gresham is a shorter guy.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it, his matches are so exciting that if you're going to bring in a certain class of wrestler who is a certain height, then, dude, Gresham, that's your guy, right? That's your cornerstone right there. That'd be phenomenal to watch that stuff go down.
He could be the foundation of that division, Steve.
I see what you did there. Yeah, he could have legs, 8 of them. I'm clever too.
Yeah.
How about we just move on?
Let's move on. Yeah, good idea.
Because you got to be joking me. No, number 3.
3.
Billie Kay.
So earlier this year, the inspiration, of course, Jessica McKay, Billie Kay, Cassie Lee, Peyton Royce announced that they were taking an indefinite hiatus from the world of professional wrestling. Just recently, Cassie announced that she was pregnant. No word on what the future may have in store coming up for Jessica McKay, but she's a phenomenal talent. Whether she was a member of the Iconics in WWE or even, I was not a fan of them breaking up the Iconics by any stretch of the imagination, but when Billie Kay was doing the headshot thing on SmackDown, it was a lot of fun.
It was.
She is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And to have her back on WWE programming would be great.
No, I agree. I'm assuming you didn't put Peyton Royce on here because I think I read somewhere is she pregnant?
Yeah, I just mentioned that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I was looking at something else. I thought I caught everything you said, but I missed that one thing.
Nope.
So yeah, which is congratulations. That's awesome. But no, Billie Kay, when she was doing the solo stuff, like you said, and I did pay attention, the whole headshot stuff. You said it was good, and I agree with that. It was good. Phenomenal. Yeah, she's obviously multi-dimensional. She can do a lot of different things. I always thought she was a really fun wrestler. It was crazy to me to see the transformation of NXT when she was the very didn't like Nigel always had 2 old school actresses.
Yeah,
it was like Greta Garbo and somebody else, and I forget who.
Yeah.
But it was the athleticism and the glamour / grace of another one.
Yeah.
And but then she was able to do the slapstick comedy better than anybody else. It's like, how do you pass on that?
Well, like I remember when like she had like an enhancement match on SmackDown.
Yeah.
This was years ago. This is before the Iconics. And then she came back to NXT like she was the brightest star there was.
Yeah, right.
Just because she had like a 2-minute match on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And right there is when you saw, she's got comedic chops. Because that was actually some pretty funny stuff. And from there, after that, a little bit after that, Peyton Royce started to be on TV. Iconics were formed. And just on a weekly basis, they were hilarious, especially in NXT. Their work in NXT was great.
You know, how you can release somebody who every little thing you give them, they turn into gold. And that's what she did. That's beyond me. The whole, I can't sell her. Kevin Dunn has a problem with her accent or some shit like that. She's a phenomenal talent. And if she wanted to come back, they should bring her back.
Absolutely. 100%.
Let's move on here. Number 2. Willow Nightingale. Now you might be wondering, hey, wait a second. She's fairly prominently featured in AEW right now. She's on like every episode of Darker Elevation or whatever. She often makes appearances on Rampage or the other one.
And of course, she was in the last Ring of Honor show too.
And she was on the last Ring of Honor show. You got to think maybe they have an idea that, she will be a prominent member of Ring of Honor. Well, here's the thing. They haven't actually seemingly signed her yet. Like, she might have one of those low-tier deals, seems to be the case. But she hasn't had the actual thing, I don't think, that says Willow Nightingale is all elite. We can't find that. Somebody's going to correct us, fine. But I put her here at number 2 because she is going to be a license to print money. Like, her charisma, her face, her look, her wrestling ability, everything about her is going to be one day a license to absolutely print money. And WWE would be silly not to take her from a place that might not use her all that great.
I mean, especially if at this juncture, AEW / Ring of Honor is kind of dragging their heels on signing her to a longer-term exclusive, or at least, exclusive in North America type deal. And Triple H should be calling her and discussing a way to get her over to WWE. Because I agree with you. She's phenomenally talented, got tons of charisma. And whatever promotions she signs with long term, she's going to make them, and in turn, herself, a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't say enough great things about Willow Nightingale.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Let's move on to number 1. Bray Wyatt. Let me back in.
Let me in.
Let me Again now. Again.
So I'm sitting here looking at a Fightful Select report from today, the title of which is "Several in WWE believe Bray Wyatt could be re-signed since Vince McMahon is gone." And it details, I won't go into it in great detail, but it goes into a lot of the tension between Vince and Bray. And here it says apparently Vince would say terrible things to Bray about his physique.
Yeah.
And seemingly because Bray was calling it like it is. This quote here is telling, says, when things were shit, Wyatt would say they were shit, and Vince saw that as difficult to deal with.
Oh, man, this story sucks, assholes, man. Shut up, you fat.
I mean, that could have actually been a conversation they had. I don't know.
I can lose weight. You can't write any better. You're still 76 years old.
So
yeah, man. Go ahead.
If there was this tension from even early on in Bray's run at WWE, you explain why so often they'd be heading in a really interesting creative direction, only to either veer wildly in opposite direction or just really pull it back.
Yeah. Right.
So many times there was some interesting things going on with the Bray Wyatt character, with the storyline of his, and then it would inevitably go nowhere. Mm-hmm. The match at WrestleMania a couple years back, where he should have beat Randy Orton.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. Which WrestleMania match? Because you could say that. You could talk about that the second one. You can talk about the Cena match. You can talk about the first one.
Yeah.
You can talk about any number of them, and it's always the same story with him. They build up something intriguing. They put a lot of money into burning down a fucking house, man.
They did.
And then what do? They drop the ball every time.
Absolutely. And they tried to bring the Fiend back with, after Randy Orton lit him on fire. You had a burned Fiend. It came off as the outfit came off as kind of corny.
Yeah.
Again, it's a situation where there is a possibility, and apparently to a degree this was happening, where Bray Wyatt was making the company a ton of money. Like, he was selling merch. Yeah. And he was making himself a ton of money.
They had some good-looking merch, man.
He was one of the few wrestlers that, on a regular basis, had decent-looking merch.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess Vince couldn't handle someone coming up to him and saying, "Hey, Vince, this sucks."
Yeah.
And regardless of the money that Bray was making for the company, regardless of the fact that he was one of the few characters on TV that people are like, "Oh, okay." I mean, not everybody was into his stuff, but I think most people would agree that, this is one of the more interesting, unique characters in pro wrestling.
Yeah, right.
He's bringing something different to the table.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not what Vince wanted. He didn't want different. He wanted what he wanted.
No, I don't do that. No. Where you gonna that's the thing about Vince. There was never a long-term goal for anything.
No.
It was, and that's with Bray Wyatt's character. You needed that, but with Triple H, you got to think maybe that's going to be the case. So I'm hoping we see Bray Wyatt again. There's a lot of characters in WWE. I just want to see how far they can go, if they can thrive under, or is the Bray Wyatt character simply not crackable? Maybe that's a possibility.
I mean, I made the case before that the story that Wyndham Rotunda Bray Wyatt wants to tell seemingly might be kind of an ill fit for pro wrestling. Him doing movies makes all the sense, because
it does, yeah.
That's a blank canvas for him. He can create whatever world he wants to there with whatever rules that world operates under. In the world of professional wrestling, regardless if you're working at WWE or Impact or AEW or New Japan or XPW or the local federation at the bingo hall, there's certain tropes that are employed kind of universally in the world of pro wrestling. I always kind of felt that was an ill fit for what seemingly he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It seems kind of pedestrian to have this kind of huge supernatural character, these supernatural stories, only for them to resolve, with arm bars and headlocks.
Yeah, I know, right?
And the one time they tried to do something different with Hell in the Cell with Seth, where Seth was like, I don't want to deal with this monster anymore. I feel like I have to kill him.
Yeah.
It was basically universally derided as horrible.
It exposed the limitations of pro wrestling as opposed to what he was trying to do, a horror movie.
Yes.
Yeah, but then it's like, what are you supposed to do? Pin a guy through a 10 count. So, I'm interested to see what they can do with it outside of Vince's limited, imagination.
Yeah.
But that being said, what you're saying could actually be true. It might be, but it's an experiment I would love to see play out for better or worse.
Yeah, I'd like to see him give it one more try in the wrestling world. Maybe in a place where he had more latitude to tell the stories that he wants to tell and more the fashion that he wants to do it. Maybe he, in his mind, has a way to bridge that gap between the stories he wants to tell and the world of professional wrestling. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's found that middle ground there that Vince just wasn't interested. I don't know. But yeah, I'd love to see him give it another try and see if he can make it work because he has some interesting ideas.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And like the Firefly Funhouse match is probably still one of my top 10, 15 matches of all time. I love that.
It's phenomenal. Absolutely. And you can tell Cena was really into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it makes you also wonder, without Vince around, how would a lot of that Cena stuff had played out? Could it have been more of a collaborative thing as opposed to just lol Cena wins? We'll never know because we can't go back in time.
Exactly. Not yet. Anyways, let's talk about some honorable mentions, man. Sure.
First up on the list here I see is Oni Lorcan. I always loved Oni Lorcan. And talk about guys like Thatcher, like a Gresham. That's where he kind of fits in, that sort of gritty, the guy he fills up a lot of stats. Probably not going to get a lot of wins, but he'll always make sure that whoever he's fighting, he's going to make him look good.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah, he is a hell of a wrestler. I don't want to make this sound like as it's an insult because it's not. He's the type of guy you want to have on your roster because he's a good hand and because regardless who you put him in the ring with, a good match is going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Oni will get over because he's got a lot of intensity, enthusiasm, and he's great in the ring. Mm-hmm. He'll get over just based on that, even if he doesn't talk. Mm-hmm. Is he ever going to be world champion WWE? No, probably not. But he'll get over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's a great wrestler to have on your roster. So you can put people in the ring opposite him to put on really good matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And every once in a while he'll surprise you. Mm-hmm. And the way he fights, it wouldn't be. He can lose 10 in a row, and then if he wins one, you think that maybe he wasn't supposed to win that. It's not that shocking because he's such a good wrestler and he's a fighter, and you want that.
Exactly. Next up here, Alex Zane. Of course, he was signed to WWE for a stretch, but he, after his release, he's really reinvented himself as like Taco Bell fan, and it's hilarious. It's great. He's an amazing wrestler.
Yeah,
he's got tons of personality.
Yeah.
It'd be obviously he can't be like his gimmick can't be Taco Bell in WWE,
right?
But if you could find kind of a similar angle, without the very specific brand association. It could be a lot of fun. Maybe maybe his gimmick is WWE.
Yeah, that could be. I think you can broaden it out a little bit and just understand that, hey, the guy's got tons of personality. That's what getting over by being Taco Bell. Number one, he's a phenomenal wrestler. That's why he's over. But he's also a very creative guy, and he's also a very personable. Like his personality shines through. He's very charismatic, and that'll carry him. You can saddle him with whatever silly gimmick you want. For example, Taco Bell. He's gotten it over.
Yeah.
So, like you said, he could be the guy who wears a WWE shirt as opposed to like his favorite wrestler shirt or his own merch shirt. Mm-hmm. Whatever you do with Alex Zane, he'll make it work. I'd love to see him give another go at WWE.
Yep. Next here, Killian Dane, Damo. He was released once, then brought back again. Memory serves.
Yeah.
And then released again. So it seems pretty evident that Triple H likes Damo. Mm-hmm. Even though, again, it was a situation where it was start-stop pushes and storylines for him. I mean, him and Drake Maverick were getting the tag team, to a degree, their tag team over.
They were, absolutely.
It was just whether they're actually going to book them as like a legitimate tag team that could be contenders for titles or still just kind of a comedy thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But he's been wrestling. He works some Control Your Narrative shows. He's been pretty active in the wrestling world. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, Persia Parada. This one was really weird. She was let go in the last round of releases, and she was in the middle of a thing. Two people, her and Dexter Loomis, both in the middle of a thing with Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell basically just had her stories ripped away from her. And yeah, Persia Prada, that she was a really good wrestler and lots of charisma. And I'm not sure why they released her. Maybe they saw the redundancy between her and Indy Hartwell to some degree. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just sort of throwing that out there because they're both Australian or whatever. So I think she's from Australia.
Yeah, she is.
Because sometimes I say Australian, it's like New Zealand. And they're like, oh, you can't do that.
I can confirm she's from Australia.
Very good. So who knows why she was released? Cause,
yeah, that was really head scratching because, as you mentioned, she's good. And she was involved like every week she was on TV. So, yeah, that one was a real head scratcher. Steve, you got one more name here. I'll let you talk about this one.
Oh, I talked about it a little bit earlier in the GCW.
Yeah, Rob Shit, right?
Yes. Hey, I'm not. Yeah, Rob Shit, absolutely. Maybe in the next list we do for this, we'll put Rob Shit in here. No, man, Shane Mercer. I mentioned him earlier. This dude, all sorts of crazy, awesome moves and shit. He honestly, and I say this in a very complimentary way, he looks like somebody who would have come out of that 2002 OVW class.
Yeah.
You know, that killer class with Brock and Batista and Cena and the other guy, Orton.
Randall Keith Orton, yes.
Yeah, the other guy. And, you know, he looks like that. But, man, this dude does some crazy-ass moves in the ring. And he's always coming up with new creative things to do. I'd love to see him in NXT or WWE, man. I think it'd be wildly fun to see him there.
I got one more name for you. Someone that we've seen wrestle locally here. He's young. He's an up-and-comer. He had a match against Will Ospreay recently. I'm talking about Titus Alexander.
Oh, dude, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. That's
phenomenal
just a matter
talent.
of time. That's
phenomenal
dude,
talent.
He's a stud. He's an absolute stud. Yeah, he's gonna be NXT champion one day, man. I guarantee it. Anyways, let us know who you want to see back in the WWE or debuting in the WWE now that Triple H is there, and they're not just going to be drawing from a bunch of burned out UFC and football players. That's so rude. Come on, it's a joke. Anyways. That's going to do it for us today, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.